بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته and welcome to this 48th episode of explaining the book of Islamic fiqh, which by now I hope that the vast majority of you have downloaded the book and also have registered in Islamic fiqh.net, the Islamic fiqh.net, so that you would be able to get assessment of your level in fiqh, get frequent quizzes and tests, and hopefully by the end of the process you would be able to get a certificate. Last time we spoke about the wives' rights, and we mentioned 5 types of these rights, and there are many more. So the dowry, being looked after, her rights in being satisfied through sexual intercourse, proper companionship and kind treatment, and finally fairness if he has more than one wife. Now, when we say rights of the wife, we do not ignore that she also has obligations toward her husband, and her rights are not limited at all in these 5 categories. But when you look at proper companionship and kind treatment, this right you can actually write books on, because it deals a lot with women's or wives' rights over their husbands in kind treatment, in not being abusive, in giving them and this is also not mentioned, but it falls under the same category of being looked after. So part of being looked after is to give your wife a separate accommodation and not to live in the same joint family system that is prevalent in the subcontinent. This is wrong. This is un-Islamic. A woman needs her own quarters to dress as she wishes, to be alone with herself or with her children whenever she wishes. To force a woman to stay with her in-laws, not only that, but also to serve them and to be a local maid for them, this is un-Islamic, and this is not giving her her rights. So when we talk about the wife's rights, a small paragraph or a sentence would not do her justice. Yet this is a very concise explanation of fiqh. So we probably need a lecture to expand on the rights of wives over their husbands. And also we have to differentiate between what is mandatory and what is recommended. So when it comes to mandatory, it is her right to be looked after. A husband who is not knowledgeable, a husband who is too technical, in short, an imbecile husband, would come and say, listen, I'm obliged to provide for you and look after you, so here is 1 meal per day. If you eat 1 meal per day, you will not starve and you will not die. So this is my obligation towards you. You want fruits? This is not my obligation. I just provide you with the main course. Appetizers is not my problem. To buy normal foods that people have in their homes, this is not my obligation. Subhanallah. You do not deal with your spouse using a calculator. This is what I have to do, and this is what I'm not obliged to do, so I'm not going to do it. No. Life is not like this. There has to be mutual care and love between the spouses. Even if there may arise reasons for being a little bit unhappy, unsatisfied with your spouse, this doesn't entitle you or give you the right to not give them their rights fully. So this is a very important issue. When we study aspects of fiqh, this is not going deep in how relationships should be. We're just skimming the surface so that the basics can be fulfilled, but this is only the tip of an iceberg. So what are the husband's rights? First, it says wives should always keep their husband's secrets. And this is not a husband's right. This is mutual. So keeping secrets that can only be shared by the spouses is a must. A wife must not expose her husband's secret. A husband must not expose his wife's secret. And by secrets, we mean the things that are related to marital issues. So things related to intimacy, things related to their own privacy. These must be concealed. It is not permissible for a wife to go and complain to her mother or to her father or to her sisters that he does this, he does that, which are not things to be complained about. Likewise, a man is not allowed to go and speak with his mother. I got a question the other day, a complaint from a sister saying that her mother-in-law insists on her, that is the daughter-in-law, to disclose what goes on during the night with her son. And she tells her to do this and to do that, and she doesn't feel comfortable doing that at all. And when she saw that she's not responding to her, she went to her son. And she's telling her son to do this and to do that, and even to have intimacy while she's on her period. A'udhu billah. What kind of a man allows his mother to speak to him about such things? And he gives himself the liberty to speak about issues of intimacy with other than his own wife. This is totally prohibited and it's totally haram. So a woman must not disclose her husband's secrets. She cannot go to her sister, for example, and says, oh, my husband suffers from this or that during intercourse, or he sounds like this and that. A'udhu billah. Allah says in the Qur'an, so righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in their husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. A righteous woman does not disclose her husband's secrets in such a fashion. Number two, obeying the husband in fair manner. And this is known as at-ta'atu bil-ma'ruf. What is fair to you might not be fair to me. So if you look at how people measure fairness, you will find that it is measured differently in, for example, America than it is in Europe, than it is in the Arab world, than it is in India, etc. Because human beings differ. So what some may think and consider to be fair, others may consider it to be unfair. And the only way to reach fairness is to identify it through the Qur'an and to the Sunnah. So there are general guidelines. Everybody acknowledges them, whether he's a kafir or a Muslim. And there are specific guidelines which can be only known through Sharia, through the Qur'an and the Sunnah. So when it comes to dealing with a husband, we said that obeying the husband in a fair manner is one of his rights. So what is fair? It is part of his rights over a woman that she, and this is not mentioned, but maybe, I don't know, but it is part of Islamic teachings that she does not leave the house without his permission. So the concept of her having her own car and going out of the home whenever she wants, coming back whenever she wants, doing whatever she needs, this is totally out of the question. This goes against guardianship. Allah says in the Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء. Men are guardian over women. So to be able to ignore the husband, like it is being able to ignore the father if she's unmarried, and she leaves whenever she wants, she hangs out with whomever she wishes. This is definitely un-Islamic. Yes, in America and Europe, this is normal. She can sleep with whomever she wants. Not in Islam. Islam governs such things. What Islam doesn't govern, then we look at what is normal. So if a husband tells his wife to stand on one leg, does anything in the Quran say otherwise? No, Islam does not say she should obey him, nor she must not. Islam says she must obey him when it is bil ma'roof, in a fair manner. So ask any Tom, Dick or Harry, whether Muslim or non-Muslims, is standing on one foot considered to be in a fair manner? They'd all say, no, this is not logical. Why? What benefit would it be for her or for him? If he just says, listen, I don't like you drinking tea. Why? I don't like it. Is she obliged to obey him? Definitely not. This is not obeying him in fair manner. If he comes to her and says, listen, I need your ATM and I'd like to use your money whenever I want. You're my wife, I have full authority over your wealth. She should not give him anything, not even a single red penny, because it's not part of obeying him in fair manner. This is tyranny. This is oppression. She's entitled to do whatever she wants with her wealth. It's her money. She inherited money. She wants to give her brother. He says, no, don't give your brother anything. Who are you to command me like this? This is my money. So I'm your husband. So I obey you by not going out of the house. I obey you by not allowing anyone in the house without your permission. I obey you when I want to fast, voluntary fast, like the 6th of Shawwal, and you say, no, you should not fast. This is your right in Islam. I obey you if I want to pray tahajjud and you call me to bed. I must obey you. But when it comes to other things that are not related to marriage, you don't own me. So what some men think that they have absolute power over women, this is wrong. So obeying the husband in a fair manner means that if you're working and your husband says, I don't like you working, and you say, but I like working, and he says, I order you to resign your job and sit back or sit home. It is mandatory upon you to obey him. Even if you're teaching only women in a girls only school, it is his right that you stay home for him. But if he doesn't provide for you, this is a different issue, and this is not the time to expand upon it. So obeying the husband in a fair manner, the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, no, or the Islamic rule, but it's also stemmed from the hadith, no creature may be obeyed in what constitutes disobedience to Allah the Creator. So this is a well-known fact that a woman must obey her husband. He tells her to cover her face, and she doesn't believe that covering the face is part of the Sunnah. She's obliged to obey him. He tells her to uncover her face. While she believes that niqab is mandatory, she must not obey him, because there is no obedience to a creature in disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal, the Creator, and so on. Number 3, giving him his sexual pleasure if he desires her. The Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, if a man calls his wife to his bed and she refuses and he sleeps feeling angry with her, the angels will curse her until morning. Now, this is addressing the Muslim women, disbelieving women or men. Kafir men or women would not find this acceptable. And this is our religion. You guys don't find it acceptable. That's your problem. We don't find your religion acceptable. But for a Muslim woman to come and say that, no, this is not fair, this is blasphemy. Why then, Sheikh, is this not the opposite? Why, when I want my husband and he does not comply, the angels don't curse him? There are many reasons. Above all, that we don't have anything to support that the angels curse man if he does not respond to his wife's desires. Therefore, we stick to what the hadith tells us. But if you look at it logically, men and women are different. Some say women are from Mars and men are from Venus, or the opposite, I don't know. Meaning that they look human, but they are built in a different way than one another. Their feelings, their orientations, etc. And this is why men have more desires for intimacy than women. And they're quite vocal about it. And it may drive them to do haram things way easier than women. Women do have their desires, but they're more conservative. They're more shy to express. And they have far stronger control over it. This is why a man can marry 4 women and a woman can only marry 1 man. This rule was set by the one who created us, the Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal sent us a messenger and sent us the Qur'an to explain to us this fact. So if a man has the urge for intimacy and is prevented from it, this could have catastrophic consequences. Even when a person is religious, Shaitan is always there lurking in the dark, waiting for the right moment to strike. I have so many stories. When I do counseling to people, I get to meet hundreds and thousands of different people, one-to-one sessions for half an hour, and they tell me about their problems. Some of their problems are so obvious, you look at them and say, subhanallah, how you guys did not see this? It's so clear, a blind person can see it. And some of the problems are quite difficult. It needs questioning and asking and responses and opening their minds to understand how shaitan works. Therefore, a woman depriving her husband from his sexual rights would have dire consequences on the whole community, on the society, and on the individual. I'm not justifying for that person to go and watch pornography or to chit-chat with an unmahram woman or to flirt with a colleague at work. No, this is all prohibited and haram. But it is a byproduct for what the woman had done. She may and she may not have proper excuses. Islam says, unless it is harmful for you, unless you're sick and you're unable to give him what he wants, unless it is harmful and it's causing you harm, you have no reason. Even if you were requested while cooking on a stove in a kitchen and he demands his rights, the Prophet says, give it to him. Of course, a woman, when she asks her husband, any normal person would comply. Men love to be desired. Men love to be sought after, because this is not the norm. The norm is a man runs after a woman. And this is why when a father wants to encourage his son, he says, come on son, study hard, graduate, and the moment you get a job, I'll find you a beautiful, righteous wife. So this is a target that all men look for. While when he speaks to his daughter, he would never ever say, come on daughter, graduate and I will find you a good husband. Because women are shy, they don't seek, rather they are sought after. So this right of a husband is something that the Prophet ﷺ has highlighted a number of times in different hadiths. Unless it is harmful for you, unless you're sick and intercourse would increase in your hardship, you have no legitimate reason to deny him. A woman's role is passive. It's not as active as a man in this intimate relationship. So it's not gonna consume her energy, or she has to fake it, though faking it is rewardable by Allah when she pleases her husband, even if she's not happy. Just faking it, as they say, would add more good deeds to her record books. And I think this we've said more than enough. Thirdly, or fourthly, taking care of the family home, his property, and their children. And this is an issue of dispute among scholars. And the reason of this is that the marriage was supposed to be an exchange of her giving herself, in exchange of she giving herself to her husband whenever he requires or demands intimacy. And that's it. So some scholars thought that this is all what is required. Other scholars said, no, this is not normal. This is not how the companions used to live, and there's nothing to support it. Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her, who's the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, came to him complaining because of grinding the wheat. It hardened her palms and affected her health. So she requested a servant. The Prophet did not tell her ﷺ, why are you coming to me? It's your husband's responsibility to provide you with a servant, not mine. The Prophet didn't say that because it is not the husband's responsibility. So the most authentic opinion is that a woman is obliged to work in her home, taking care of the chores of the house, taking care of her husband's needs and her children's needs. So she's the one who does the cooking, the cleaning, the washing, the ironing, and she takes care of the house. This is part of obeying the husband in a fair manner. Likewise, it is the husband's duty to feed her proper meals, not only buy her sandwiches. No, he has to feed her correctly. He has to clothe her, buy her proper clothes. He has to provide her with a shelter, not a single room on the roof made for drivers or maids. No, he has to give her a proper shelter according to his financial ability and to her social status. He has to also provide her with medical care. And this is not mentioned in the Qur'an and the Sunnah, but it is part of treating her in a fair manner. And he has to take her out, take care of her needs, does not neglect her when it comes to words of compassion and mercy, texting her that he loves her and he misses her, buying her a red rose every now and then, buying her jewelry if he can afford it, a bottle of perfume, taking her out for dinner, spending quality time. All of these are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended, because in return she's taking care of your house, of your children, of your clothes, of your food. So it's a mutual relationship, a mutual transactions. You have to do something, scratch my back, I scratch yours. With the difference that this is an instruction from Allah Azza wa Jal to take care of one another. Finally, kindly treatment and good manners. So many women are abusive. So many women say things and then apologize after a while when it's too late. If a woman restrains herself, controls her tongue, and does not say things that would be more painful to cure than to avoid, a lot of marriages suffer from this, and a lot of the brothers are complaining from being unkindly treated. Some of them, that is some of the brothers, are too soft and too kind, which makes women ride them like a mule. And some men are too aggressive, are too abusive, which makes women treat them like an adversary, an enemy. and they see that the only way to live through this marriage is to be more oppressive and more abusive than him. And definitely this is not the life that Allah has promised us. Allah says that among His signs that He created for you, from you, spouses, so that you would have shelter in them, have comfort and tranquility in them. And He made between them, the spouses, compassion and kindness and mercy. When you look at how spouses are living, you would see that a lot of them have failed big time. And with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, when I sit with couples trying to solve their problems, it's very easy, because I can see what is wrong, while they, for being in the same situation for tens of years, have become numb and unable to feel what is going on or what is coming from their mouths and how offensive it is. So it's just an eye-opener, alhamdulillah. Therefore, kind treatment and good manners from both sides is the formula for a happy marriage. Whenever respect disappears, this is when shaitan comes, this is when shaitan is present, and problems happen without an end. We move on to the following chapter, which is dissolution of the marriage at the wife's request, definition and status. This is dealing with khul'. When a marriage takes place, this is a very strong bond between a man and a wife. To dissolve this, it has to be done by the man giving talaq, I divorce you, or by the woman asking for khul', which we are about to talk, or by the Muslim judge dissolving the marriage through the power invested in him. So he has the right to say, you guys can't stay together, your marriage is dissolved, even if the husband is not happy, even if the wife is not happy. But the Muslim judge has the authority to do this. So what is khul'? Khul' is dissolution of the marriage in specific words, and in return for compensation paid by the wife to her husband. Allah says, if you have a cause to fear that they would not be able to keep within the bounds set by Allah, that is the spouses, it shall be no offense for either of them if she gives up whatever she may in order to free herself. So what is khul'? Khul' is a process where a woman buys her freedom. So she got into this marriage by being paid a dowry. If she wants out for a legitimate reason, she buys her way out through giving the same amount of dowry or even less, depending on what they reach an agreement over. In the authentic hadith, Thabit ibn Qais, may Allah be pleased with him, was married to a woman, and this woman came to the Prophet ﷺ. Now we know that Thabit is one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. He was what we explain today as the minister of information. He's a spokesman. So he was the person that the Prophet calls, alayhi salam, whenever convoys come, convoys, no, envoys, come and would like to introduce themselves, so they have a spokesman of their own. He says, we are this, we are that, and they speak proudly of their tribe. Thabit ibn Qais, because of his very loud voice and articulate fashion, would be ordered by the Prophet ﷺ to respond to them. So this is his job. So he's a good companion of the Prophet ﷺ. His wife came to the Prophet and said, "O Prophet of Allah, I do not want to stay with Thabit. I don't want to be married to him. And he doesn't want to divorce me." So the Prophet said, "Do you find anything wrong with him? Is he sinning? Is he watching like porn or doing something bad?" So she says, "I do not blame Thabit ibn Qais for any defect in his character or his religious commitment. A'udhu billah, he's a good Muslim. But I would hate to commit an act of disbelief now that I'm a Muslim." Whoa, what is that related to marriage? Disbelief here is originally called kufr. And kufr can be disbelief, which is major, and can be minor, which is sinful. So accusing you in your lineage, this is kufr, but it is minor. So no, you're not from that tribe or from that lineage, or your great-great-grandfather is not who you claim to be. So you're not honorable. This is kufr, but it's minor. And a woman being abusive to her husband, not giving him his rights, not respecting him, is kufr. Not major, but minor. So the wife of Thabit said, "The man is perfect. I simply do not accept him. Hence, I'm unable to give him his rights, intimacy and others. So this would put me in a category of kufr, which is the minor disbelief, as in the hadith, O women, give sadaqah, for I have seen you the majority of the people of hell." And the women said, "Why, O Prophet of Allah?" And the Prophet said, "Because of your disbelief." And they said, "We disbelieve in Allah and the Prophet ﷺ?" said, No. You disbelieve in the marriage, in the marital life, and in the good days that had been between you and your husband. If your husband is kind to you the whole year and makes one single mistake, you would say, "I've never seen anything good from you." So the Prophet ﷺ described this feeling of ingratitude, of being unthankful, ungrateful, described as kufr. And scholars said that this is not disbelief in Allah that would put a person in hell for eternity, but it's a major sin and it is minor kufr. Killing a Muslim is kufr, but this is minor. And in Arabic we have al-kufr and we have kufr. Al means the. So Ibn Taymiyyah says, may Allah have mercy on his soul, that whenever the is introduced to the word kufr or shirk, it makes it major. And when it's stripped of it, it makes that minor. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So the Prophet said to her, "Will you give him back his garden?" Because Thabit gave her as a dowry a farm. And she said yes. So the Prophet addressed Thabit sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, "Take your garden back and divorce her once." So this is the right way of performing khul'. to reach a compromise, an agreement between the man and his wife. So if he goes and notices that his wife is not liking him, the ideal situation is for a real husband to divorce his wife. Akhi, if she doesn't love you, she doesn't want you, she doesn't have any feelings to you, why are you keeping her? Oh, Sheikh, I love her. Yeah, but she doesn't love you back. You want to force her to love you? She's been there and she has done that. So what's the point? Oh, I can't leave her. Come on, man, be a man. Divorce her, ditch her, and get married to someone who's younger and more beautiful and would appreciate you more. She's a human being. She doesn't like you anymore. She doesn't love you. So why are you fighting a losing battle? This doesn't make any sense. The man is still insisting. He says, no, I don't want to divorce her. I invested a lot in this marriage. I gave her a dowry. So if she doesn't want me, as she claims, she should pay me back for my losses. And this is his God-given right. So if she wants out of this marriage, she should give him something in return. And this is why it's very important to know the difference between khula and divorce, talaq. So many cases that come to me, the man says, Sheikh, is khula part of divorce? Is it counted out of the 3 divorces? The answer is no. That's good. I said, why? He said, because I divorced my wife twice before, and 6 months ago, she asked me for khula. So I said, okay, if this is what you want. And she offered to give me the dowry and I refused to take a penny. And I gave her divorce. Now, after 6 months, we're thinking of coming back together and remarrying. I said, no deal, akhi, not possible. I said, why? You just said that khul' is not a divorce. I said, yes, khul', which is in compensation, the wife gives you money. So it has to be something for something in order to be counted as khul'. You didn't take any financial compensation, and you simply gave her a divorce. So this was the last and third divorce. Sorry, but you can't go back to her. You cannot marry her. This is important to know, that there are differences between khul' and divorce. For example, divorce number 1 and divorce number 2, the iddah period is 3 monthly cycles if she's not pregnant. While khul' is 1 monthly cycle, similar to the third divorce. If a man divorces his wife for the 3rd time, she waits only for 1 monthly cycle and then she can marry again. But the first and second divorces, she has to wait 3 monthly cycles. Khul' is exactly the same as the third divorce in the sense that she's awarded khul' today. In the evening she gets her menses. 5 days later she's pure. The 6th day she can get married to another man. Boom. No problem. Also, in divorce 1 and divorce 2, during the iddah period, she is considered to be his wife. And if he wants, he can revoke the marriage, reconcile with her, with or without her permission. She has no say in it. He's the one who divorced. He's the only one who has the right to revoke the marriage and get her back to the marriage institution or whatever. If she refuses, it has no value. In khul', once the khul' is awarded, couple of weeks later, the man says, oh, I changed my mind. I revoke my khula. Nope, no done deal. It's over. So what to do? The woman herself wants to go back in marriage with him. This is a different situation. You can propose to her guardian, and if he agrees, then we can make a marriage contract with a new mahar, with 2 Muslim male witnesses. It's the whole full nine yards. But other than that, no, you cannot revoke the khul' as you wish. So this is almost everything that we need to know about what's in khul', and I think we should move on to the questions. We have the first question is from Abdul Qadir. He says, is it permissible for a husband and wife to pray tahajjud or qiyamul layl in congregation? And if yes, is it loud prayers or silent? The answer is yes, without any doubt. A man and his wife, it is part of Sunnah to offer night prayer together. This is highly recommended by the Prophet ﷺ. He said that whenever a man wakes up and he wakes up his wife and he sprinkles water on her face if she refuses to wake up, and they pray 2 rak'ahs, they will be registered in Allah's records as among those who remember Allah, men and women, a lot. الذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات. And also the Prophet ﷺ used to wake up, used to wake his wives up whenever he wanted to perform witr. So he used to pray a lot of night prayer, but when it came to witr, he used to wake Aisha and his wives up to join him in that. So this is a very highly recommended sunnah, to offer night prayer, tahajjud, with your spouse. Should he recite loudly or softly? Definitely loudly, because night prayer is recited a bit louder than silent prayers, where you can hear yourself and also those praying with you can hear you. It was reported that the Prophet ﷺ once passed by Abu Bakr's home, or he asked Abu Bakr, how do you recite during night prayers? And he says, I recite silently. So when the Prophet asked him, why do you recite silently? He said, I made the one who I am addressing hear what I have to say. Now I'm reciting the Qur'an for whom? For Allah. Does Allah need me to raise my voice? This is Abu Bakr's way of thinking. He says, no. I'm calling Allah and Allah is hearing me. So he passed by Umar, and Umar was reciting the Qur'an loudly. So he said, why are you reciting the Qur'an this loud, Umar? So he said, O Prophet of Allah, to scare the devil away and to wake up those who are sleepy and drowsy, to encourage them to stand up and pray. So the Prophet said to Abu Bakr, raise your voice a bit, and said to Umar, lower your voice a bit. Rashid says, after taking khul', is it mandatory to return the mahar amount paid by the groom, or what is the ruling on this? Well, we've just spoke about this, Rashid. To be a proper khul', there has to be a financial compensation to the husband. So if he paid 1,000 euros, the norm would be that the wife, in exchange for khul', she gives him 1,000 euros. They can negotiate. She may say, listen, come on, I've spent 10 years with you, yani cut me some slack, make it 500. And he agrees to that, that's fine. If he agrees for $1 only, that's fine. He has to receive something as a compensation for it to be khul', otherwise it is a divorce. Maria says, the man can marry with another woman without say that to the first wife. So her question would be, is it permissible for a man to marry without the permission of his first wife? Yes, this is permissible. Not only that, it is also permissible to marry without the knowledge of the first wife. Some first wives would burn a fuse if you tell her that her husband got married again, and she would maybe go haywire. In this case, the husband is forced to marry without telling her. Is it the ideal case? Definitely not. Is it recommended? Definitely not. Either be a man 100% or not. A week before marriage, tell her that you're getting married. If she says, no, I don't want you to get married, it's not fair, divorce me. If you're serious and you're getting married and you need it, divorce her. The house is hers. It's open for her and her children. You want to stay? I'll put you on my head. I'll cherish you. I love you as I've loved you the past years. But when you want to bend my arm, as we say in Arabic, when you want to hurt me and think that you can force me through intimidating me with divorce or going back to your parents' house, be my guest. If I am serious, I have to get married to a second wife or I'll fall into haram. A man comes to me and says, my wife does not give me any of my rights of intimacy. So I said, yeah, like what? He says, Sheikh, I can only be intimate with her once a month. What is this? You might as well do it through correspondence. Let her go to her country. And what kind of marriage is this? And I face a lot of fitna. And I'm going to fall in haram, Sheikh. I said, Akhi, get married again. He says, she will divorce me. I said, tell her, send her a postcard saying to her, you'll miss her a lot. If she is not willing to give you your rights, and she is preventing you from having a second wife, what do you need of her? Be realistic. Yes, I love her, she loves me, but she is forcing me. She's not giving me my rights. I need my rights of intimacy as a man. We've mentioned this. So you have to become realistic. But this is not to be done as simple as I've just explained it. There is a whole list and process of doing it, of showing her the gravity of her sin, of her talking to someone who would give her advice, elders, a counselor, a marriage counselor, someone with authority to explain to her how wrong she is. But at the end of the day, if she's not willing, she's not staying with you, she's not giving you rights, ditch her. Isra says, and by the way, this goes both ways, men and women. So even if a sister complains, there is a process. There are points that has boxes that they have to be checked. And if she says, yeah, my husband does this, does that, does this, does that, in this case, we advise her that this is not a good marriage or a healthy marriage. You have to bail yourself out. Leave. But in most cases, we tell the wife to listen. You need to reconsider. Your justifications are not valid. And in the man's case, so many times I would tell him, Akhi, you should fear Allah. Why marry a second wife? Your first wife is an excellent woman. She does everything in her ability to please you. It's just the fun of being called, wow, he's a man, he's got 2 wives, as if it's something to be boasting about. Yeah, the gorillas can boast about this. Maybe a lion can boast of having so many lionesses. This is in the animal world. Muslims And humans don't do this. This is when it is necessary and there is a call and need for it, and you know yourself you're going to be fearing Allah Azza wa Jal and being fair. Other than that, hold your horses. Isra says, in Islam, what is meant by a woman or a man nature is different? Is this referring to appearances? Because we are told human nature is the same for all, like desires, greed, jealousy, love, or of wealth, etc. No, this is not true. Men and women are different. Appearances, or physically, they may look alike, having a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, being able to speak, maybe women speaking more than men considerably, but beside that, they are different in how they think, in how they feel. Men are more realistic, logical. They don't involve a lot of feelings in their lives. That's why they're having hearts of stone. While women are emotional, they involve a lot of emotions in their life, and this is why we love them. Because if a man was married to a woman without emotions, without feelings, he feels like he's married to his buddy, a friend, a man. And if a woman marries a man with too much feelings, that whenever she speaks to him, he starts to weep and cry. He says, what is this? She wants a man that orders her, that protects her, that steers the marriage and the family to safety. So they are different. When women speak or sit with other women, they talk endlessly about things that men would never ever speak about, and vice versa. So when I sit with the boys, we talk about cars, property, prices, about inflation, stocks, about politics, economy. Never ever talk about our personal lives. I would never say that, yeah, my wife went to the beauty parlor and she's doing her nails. I wouldn't do anything like that. Nobody knows anything about my life. Women, on the contrary, when they sit, they tell everything. My husband did this, my husband did that, my children went to school and this happened, my daughter-in-law said this to my son and they had a fight, and they gossip and they exchange stories and they put all of their emotions in it. This is how they are built, generally speaking. There might be some exceptions. Therefore, they are different from one another. Their orientation is different, the way they think, the way they talk, and the way they appreciate. Men in general fail to say thank you. I got a call from a brother the other day. He's telling me that my wife is angry with me and I misunderstood the meaning of a hadith. The Prophet said, whoever does not thank people is not grateful to Allah. So he said, from this hadith, I thought that thanking people would be shirk, because I'm not doing it to Allah. So I never praise my wife's cooking or doing good things. Today she gave me a good meal and I failed to say thank you, it's a good meal, because I didn't want to praise her. Why not praising her? He said, because in another hadith, the Prophet said that if you praise your Muslim brother, it's like cutting his neck. SubhanAllah, how people think. The hadith of not praising others is in things related to religion. So if you come to me and say, Sheikh Asim, you are the most righteous scholar I've ever seen, I would say, yeah, I know, that's good. And I would act to be humble. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. You said, yeah, Shaykh Asim, you've guided us so much to Islam, and now we're practicing, and now we love Allah. All is because of you. And I said, astaghfirullah. Inside, my head is inflating. And I'm thinking, yeah, and I have a lot of good videos as well. And the Q&A sessions are beautiful. Definitely you've enjoyed it. I think of myself in a way that shaitan is happy. This is haram. Because with time, I'll justify any sin that I do by saying to myself, yeah, I have credit, man. So many people enjoy my lectures. I'm way in paradise. But praising people and things related to dunya is definitely permissible and recommended. So your wife does a good job in preparing a meal. Wow, the food is great. MashaAllah, you're a great cook. This is not in religion. This is in dunya. She wears a beautiful dress, even if it's not beautiful. Yeah, he fake it. Wow, look at this dress. It's so beautiful. You look gorgeous. I don't know which is making the other more beautiful. You making the dress beautiful, or the dress making you look beautiful? This gives you fuel for a whole year of compliment. She's satisfied. This is totally permissible. So when you come to the issue of the nature of men and women, it's different. Women love to be praised. You have to praise them. Even if you lie, this lie is a good deed. It's halal. Say how beautiful she looks, how she smells, how nice her cooking is. Even if you lie, you'll be rewarded for that. So yes, men and women are different, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have until we meet next week on a Monday. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.